We're quite a ways from the sea, and it's probably as good a place as any to talk about why we gave up what we had on the land for a life on the ocean, on the water. I've always felt more comfortable around mountains and in the valleys and just beautiful green places, and yet I've ended up on the sea, which is quite, it's a little bit different for me too, I guess, the feeling of being constantly on the water. But it's something I certainly do like and appreciate. Why did we give up everything we had and everything we worked for to sell it all and buy a boat? And I guess a lot of the simple reasons, or the simple answers, we weren't living in a rat race, we weren't high consumers, we spent an awful lot of time with the kids anyway. I had built my own businesses, which allowed me the time to spend with my children and my wife. We built our own house, we had a beautiful block of land, and we sort of pretty well reached a place a lot of people sort of kind of desire to be, I guess. So why we sold up goes back to my childhood, really. And we travelled a lot with them to various parts, outback Australia, Europe and Africa, for conferences and lectures. Some of my early childhood memories are of listening to either mum or dad speaking or talking about various things in nature, and also going out in the outback and scrabbling around in the leaf litter for little bugs and stuff like that, and then also perhaps going through Africa, meeting scientists around the place, over there, going on safari, seeing all the big wildlife, finding that there's big line tracks just outside your tent flap when we're travelling through the Serengeti, the Ngorongoro crater, the wildlife and the environment was always a big part of our upbringing, I guess, me and my brother's upbringing. And so the idea that, as much as the idea of giving my children a stable house and stable friends, all the way from primary all the way up to high school and beyond, I guess, in one place was quite appealing to me. But it didn't really happen that way. We ended up buying a boat. And the reason for that, I guess, is that I'm just not somebody who can really settle down in one place for very long, as much as I really desire to, or I think I do. Having a nice piece of land, something with a river in the back would be great, and growing crops or flowers or trees, would be a wonderful thing to do. And I've certainly had those opportunities, but we've given them away after a few years each time, and I think it's just as a result of being very mobile, I guess, when we were younger, travelling a lot, seeing different countries, different cultures, looking at the environment, looking at the animals, has given me that travel bug, has bitten me badly, I think. I certainly would, at this stage, feel I would like to have a nice place, a nice very small cottage or a house somewhere nice and warm, with a little garden, but I'm still not ready for that yet. So the reason why we sold everything up and bought the boat was when I got married, what's that, 27 years ago, I guess. One of the first things we talked about was, let's buy a boat and travel the world. I mean, I'd grown up on books by Willard Price, Gerald Durrell, Dudley Pope for Ramage for sailing, and then a whole lot of science fiction after that. So I sort of, there was always a bias there for adventure, I think. And so, she comes from a place like this, well, down on the flats, and a long way from the ocean, and it was kind of outside of her comfort zone, I guess. to just go off and buy a boat and start traveling, especially with no experience. And I didn't have much either. And so she said, well, let's have the kids on land first. Let's just get out there and, do the usual stuff, have the kids on land, and then we'll buy a boat. And yeah, it sounded fair enough to me. So as the years went by, we had 3 kids. When the youngest one was 8 years old, she just surprised me really and said, right, time to sell up and buy that boat. Let's go live on the water. And so even though we'd developed some businesses, built our own house, the kids were nicely settled into school. They were doing well in sports, academically, musically. It was like, all right then, let's go do this. This is a stunning place, eh? Just beautiful. I'll show you now.
Could you probably want to know mine? The question why is so important to run my life. So many lies to build a truth that's distorted. I can only ask myself the question why. So many things at the same time running, if there's no ground, then you keep on plummeting. And when you want to stop, take a break and then open